Hello everybody and welcome back to another lyrical breakdown with me, your lady friend Bonnie. And this week I'm going into like an interesting one. So definitely something I haven't really listened to that much before. But before we get started, let me just say that, remind you guys about the contest that we're having for the Race to 1,000. We are trying to get 1,000 subscribers, and when we do, we will be giving out a $100 Amazon gift card, a $50 gift card, and a $25 Amazon gift card too. So all you need to do is like, subscribe, and leave a comment below, and you're automatically entered to win. And the more that you do this, like and comment on any of our videos, if you're already subscribed, you get more chances to win. So what's not to love, right? Also just wanted to mention, disregard the background here. We are moving things around. We are trying to like improve and like upgrade the studio here. So yeah, things are getting moved around and will be changing shortly. So stay tuned for the next videos, but I think I'm sort of in the moving process in this room here. So yeah, so let's just get right into it. So this week I am breaking down Armed Robbery by 8ball and MJG. And this came out in 1993. So it's, again, we've got some more old school stuff coming up. They're secret. There's going to be some new school stuff coming up next week. Something a lot more current. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, so I mean, this came out, like I said, early 90s. It's very like, and these guys are from Memphis, Tennessee, so it's a different feeling. It's a lot more, there's like a story behind it, and it's like, I don't know, it's just like some fun, shady, interesting rap. It's fun. It's a good song. So if you want to give that a listen, you can join me. Yeah, let's check it out. So as you can tell, or maybe not, I don't know. This is a pretty interesting song, and the background beat that they rap on is sort of like a Mission Impossible style. I mean, I guess it is Mission Impossible, right? Like that they kind of copy like the same sort of song, right, as the movies, except it sounds more, it obviously sounds very 90s, and it sounds like a lot more gritty and like maybe done with like in a cheap way. Like it sounds sort of like weirdly synthesized or something, but it is fun. It kind of sounds like a 90s video game or something like that. Like it has like that kind of electronic computer 90s sound, if you know what I mean. But yeah, let's, like I said, give it a listen, see what you think. If what I'm saying makes sense to you, then you get it, right? So let's just get right on into it. Okay, so, and it's so sort of, there's also just wanted to mention that there is no hooks. It is just sort of four sets of verses that are kind of back and back. It's 8ball. Sorry, I think it's it's MJG first, and then it's 8ball, and it's MJG, and then it's 8ball, and that's the whole song. So we've got just the four verses. So let's get into verse number 1. All right, so here we have MJG, and he starts off by saying, "Now I was clicking out my barrel just to see if it was loaded, checking out its bullets to make sure it won't explode. This hand around the middle of my slug, no steel. I must be for real in the procedure for a kill." Okay. So he's just sort of like checking out his gun and making sure it's prepared, it's working well, he's good to go. He's checking on the bullets to make sure it won't like backfire on him, I'm guessing, which apparently seems to be like kind of a common thing for like some guns. I don't know. Maybe it's, anyways, whatever. So he's got his hand around the handle of his slug. So as far as I know, slugs are bullets. So I'm not really sure how one would have a handle on a slug. I'm guessing he's obviously implying that it's the gun, but yeah, guns have handles and not bullets. So I think he messed up on his slang a little bit. Let me just call him out on that. No, I'm sure I'm wrong. So okay, so yeah, I guess it was just a gun, right? So he doesn't want the bullets to explode in his hand that holds the gun or whatever. He has to like manipulate his plan. Oh no, not manipulate. He has to like formulate his plan for murder, and it's time, and he's not playing. So he's getting ready, right? So stood around the corner while I cased out the bank, busted in the door, and stuck the guard with a shank. Ran up to the counter, pulled the gun out with the quickness, shot the bank teller so it wouldn't be a witness. So, I mean, he's obviously just running around causing trouble, right? So it's clearly like a premeditated crime. And he's checking out the bank. He's kind of, casing the joint, right? He's, trying to see like how like the inner workings, the ins and outs, and maybe who are like the people he can get the money from. Like maybe he's been checking it out for a while. And he's decided to go for it. So this is the point where he's like, I'm going to rob the bank today. So he quickly gets into the bank and stabs the security guard with a shank, which is like a homemade knife, often one that's like made in jail a lot of the time, as far as I'm aware. So the guard, he's kind of got him under control. He's out of the way. He's been injured or killed, whatever. And now he runs up to the teller with his gun out. So he's come to, he's being serious, right? So he wants the money. I guess he gets the money and proceeds to shoot her without any witness. He doesn't want anybody to like tattle on him. And it is early 90s, right? So there's probably not that much security going on, in terms of like technology. I don't know how good the 90s security tapes would be. But anyways, so the next set of lyrics, fled out the door with the money in my left hand, steel in my right hand, running like a wild man. Ran to the hideaway, knowing they was after me, burned out my ID, stole a Jeep Cherokee. So he's just sort of saying that the whole bank robbery was pretty quick. He was in and out. He got the money. He came what he did to, what he came here to do, right? He took the money and ran. And the gun is still in his hand as he runs away, so he didn't drop it, the one that he was aiming at the bank teller, or the one that he shot the bank teller with. So he runs to his hiding spot, knows that the police are going to be after him, and he destroyed all of his like IDs, so there's nothing that can be like, I guess, linked to him in any way. And he stole a Jeep. So, I mean, that's where we're at. So he couldn't be late for my trip to Jamaica, heading to the river, scheming up on how to take a boat from a victim, rush right up and stick him with a sharp object, making sure that I get him. So he's got to hurry. He's got this plan. He's got to get to Jamaica. They're waiting on him, right? Or someone's waiting for him. He can't be late, So maybe it's just like sort of an escape plan, right? He'd planned out the whole thing, and this is sort of like the escape plan from the po-po. He heads to the river and plans to steal a boat and then kill the victim, I guess. So yeah, he just has this plan that he's gonna stab the boat owner with some random object, and maybe it's gonna be his like shiv again. So yeah, he just stabs him, I guess, or wants to. Pulled up to the river scene, nervous as a lunatic, jumped out of the vehicle and spotted me a boat quick. Jumped on with the gun, saw the owner break and run, shot him in the back with the gat like in Vietnam. So I guess that the whole boat story was what he was planning and doing, but up until this point, he hadn't done it. So I guess it's like sort of more of like a fantasy, like what he's going to do. But like now it's like reality. Now it's happening. Like now he's living this fantasy of his that, he was going to like commit this crime. He was going to like get away with it. His whole escape plan, now he's just kind of veering off into that course. So he gets out of the car, where he finds and picks out a boat to steal. He gets on the boat with the gun ready, obviously, right? I guess the owner is on the boat, and the owner just kind of like runs the fuck away because there's a guy with a gun on his boat, right? Like, I mean, I would jump off if I was him. I would just jump off and swim the fuck away. So as the owner is running away, he gets shot in the back. And I guess this was a common practice I guess in Vietnam during the war. Like I didn't really get like shot him in the back with the gat like in Vietnam. Like I didn't. Maybe I was missing something, but yeah, I guess it's just like a war thing. Maybe the Vietnamese were running away and they shot. Anyways, I'm not gonna get into it. But I guess that's actually the point of this video, right? So let's just keep going. Yeah, so I mean that was it. And I was trying to see if like maybe that also had something to do with like the 90s, like if there was like something going on there, but I couldn't find anything. Okay, so on to the next. Quickly making waves in the river as I belt fast, got about a mile in the boat, ran out of gas. Oh no, Joe, the cops can't come get me. I'll never be wanted for armed robbery. So he started up the boat. He's heading out. He's going. He's making waves, which probably means that he's going pretty fast, right? I mean, like whenever I think of like a little boat making waves, like they're moving, right? But he can't really get away because there's not even enough gas in the boat. And he's like, fuck, and he's thinking about an alternate plan now. So he just can't get caught. Like he's like refusing to be caught, right? So he's got to figure out a way to get away. So he kind of wants that kind of wanted man legacy that he's, I don't know, I guess that's obviously a part of like the fantasy, right? Like he wants to be an escaped, like get away with the perfect crime, escape and not get caught and just have that legacy and like, like he's like kind of untouchable, right? So he obviously wants that. Okay, so then we have verse numero 2. So we have 8ball this time. And he's kind of saying like what's going on with in his life, or I guess what's happening on the same day, I guess. So on the other side of town, moving quickly, rolling swiftly in the hoopty ride, loading up the 9 because there just may be a homicide. MJG know the plan, so the shit is on. By the time the 5-0 come, we'll be through and gone. So now we have 8ball rhyming on this verse. Just kind of see like what's going on. What is he up to, and he's just kind of driving around town in like, a kind of a crappy old car. He's prepping his gun because he's ready to shoot and kill someone. His partner and him have like, I'm guessing like 8ball, right? MJG. So him and his partner are, they've arranged this plan. It's happening. They got shit to do. They have a meeting point. Like, I'm guessing that's kind of what's going on here, right? So, and then he's just kind of saying like by the time the cops show up, they're going to be long gone and like nobody's going to catch them and they are going to be away with a whole bunch of money, right? Got to the area, stopped then, took a glance, putting on my ski mask, stuffing the gat in my pants. Wells Fargo right on time. Now it's time for the crime. Do the crime, waste no time, then I'm going to get mine. So he goes to whatever like the designated area that he's like picked out, right? And he's just kind of making sure that there's nobody around, nobody's watching. He puts on the classic ski mask, right? He's going to rob someone. And his gun is accessible in his pants. Wells Fargo is a bank chain, so I mean I'm guessing that's what he's about to rob. He's just kind of like, oh, perfect, it's right on time, like I guess. So I guess they're both kind of robbing banks and they're both kind of taking the loot. They're running, they're gonna like come together and they're gonna be mad rich, right? And they're gonna go to their meeting point. And like also like the bank is sort of like a timekeeper, and so like it's all done with like pretty much like a lot of accuracy, like this whole plan, right? Like it's all then like perfectly meditated, like everything's kind of taking place the way it should be and the way that they planned it, like to the T. So he does the crime, he does it quick and efficiently, and he's going to get the money and that he deserves. And this is his money and he's taking it back. So he waited for the door to open, shot the first trick I saw, then shot the other fool. I ain't thinking about no law. Jump in the truck, put the pedal to the metal, then fired up a square man doing about 110. Yeah, so he's just sort of, the doors are open and he shoots the first person that he sees. He shoots someone else who like, and he doesn't really think about the consequences, right? He's just doing what he's got to do. He jumps into his truck and drives away quickly and shoots somebody that's obviously like driving too slow for his liking when he's on like this, he's trying to go fast, trying to get away from everybody. He has a place to be, right? And they're blocking his way. And so he just like shoots them and be like, get out of my way, right? All right. So looking in my rear view, 5-0 everywhere, messing up my plans with them helicopters in the air. Headed for the airport. Wait, I see a roadblock. Hit the gas even harder. Fool, I ain't gonna stop. So he looks in his rear view mirror after he's committed this crime, and he's running away or driving away. And he sees tons of cops after him. Like he's like, shit, like they're after him, right? And he gets pissed off because the police are ruining his plans. He's, they weren't supposed to show up like this, which is probably like a common feeling for anybody who having committing a crime, because they just want to get away. Like they don't want to get caught, right? Nobody commits a crime and wants to get caught. Like they want to be able to get away with it, and that's kind of what he's saying too. Like he's just like, damn it, they ruined my plans. And there's even like the helicopters like that are following him or chasing him. Kind of like what's that one? The cars. Anyways, whatever. So yeah, it's like a chase, and he's being watched. He heads to like the airport to escape, and like he's obviously trying to get away, right? But he sees like a roadblock, and he's like, whatever. Obviously, that's not going to stop him. So he just doesn't care, and he just drives even faster, and he drives through it without stopping. I think it's America's Most Wanted. Is that the thing I was thinking of? The car going fast, being chased, right? Is that it? America's Most Wanted? Yeah, so maybe he wants to have that sort of legacy too, right? Okay. So crashed through the roadblock. They ain't gonna get me yet. Jay Smooth waiting at the airport in a private jet. Jumped out of the truck with fast pigs right behind my ass. Running, trying to shoot my 9, holding bags full of cash. So he crashes through the roadblock. He's still safe and hasn't been caught. Doesn't plan on getting caught either. His homeboy is ready and waiting for him, Jay Smooth, with a private jet at the airport. So he's obviously like living kind of like the dream, right? Like you want to have like a private jet, and like it's so cool. So he's already having that, like that whole idea is happening in his head, and he's like, I need the money so I can pay for the jet, maybe. So he pulls up to the airport, jumps out of his car, and cops are like right on his tail. So I mean, you're like, how is he gonna get away, right? So he's trying to run, he's trying to shoot cops, and he's also holding the bags of stolen money that he's got with him. So he's kind of trying to do all these crazy things all at once. I mean, it's a complicated task, right? Okay, so jumped on the jet. Now we set to hit the runway. Took to the air. Yeah, I got away scot-free. Fired up a Mac J. Pigs didn't catch me. Counting all my money from a strong armed robbery. So he gets into the jet and it's ready to go. Sounds like this is more where the fantasy comes into play, I think, because I'm pretty sure if there were cops everywhere and they were right behind him, and there's no way he would have been able to take off. I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. And I'm like, plus there's also like the helicopter that's following them, so I just can't imagine like a jet being able to get away, because like wouldn't like the helicopter just follow? I don't know. So yeah, I don't know like the speed comparison of like a jet versus like a helicopter though, so I don't know how quickly either one would go. So he's just excited to be like up in the air in the jet, and he feels like he's kind of gotten away with it. It's over, like he can just carry on with his plan, right? He's like, yeah, got away. And I couldn't find anything for a Mac J, but I'm guessing it's to do with weed, but I'm not sure. Or maybe it's someone. I don't know. He's relieved that he wasn't caught. He's counting his loot and checking out how much money he's got. And he's pretty impressed with himself at this moment. He's kind of like, yeah, I got away, like, and look at all this money I've got. And like, no cops could get me. I'm untouchable. He's living the life, right? All right. So verse 3, MJG. Okay. So you think it's over, but it ain't, because I'm because I can't get caught by authority. The camera at the bank got me ganked, so they know it's me. Reach for artillery, put the shank in my mouth, drove off the boat to the river, and I bailed out. So you think that's like the whole story, but there's more, right? So MJG still hasn't been caught by police. He knows that they know what he looks like because of the security cameras at the bank. So I guess that answers the question, right? Brings us back to where he left off. He's kind of he shoots at the police. He's on this like boat, right? You know, he's just kind of that has no gas, and so he's just like whatever. And he shoots at the police. He puts a knife between his teeth and like dives into the water. Like this is it. Like he's got everything he needs on him, and like that's how he escaped. And like that's pretty smart thinking. Although I do know someone who ran away from the cops and dove into a canal, and he didn't make it out alive. So I don't know if it was the cops or something happened while he was in there. But anyways, that's a whole different story. Swam like a fish, greeted land with a kiss. Did I hit or did I miss? Well, it goes like this. I put the money in the spot, took the clothes that I got. I just kind of sum that up quickly. He swims away from the police like a fish, and when he gets to on land, he kisses it, being so thankful to have reached it, and maybe he was like exhausted at this point, right? And like he just wanted to be free. So this is his story, and he keeps you wanting to know more, kind of like if he got caught or not. And like at this point, you're like, well, what's gonna happen? And he hides the money and he runs off with the clothes on his back, and I guess like some extra clothes or something, right? Like extra luggage. Okay, so tied them up in the bag, same place where I put the mask. Changing clothes in between spot A and spot C, the designated area we call spot B. So C, I can't be broke, so I come up with a plan. He put his clothes and his mask and hides them, so there's no evidence, and he's changed, and maybe like he changed out of what he was wearing and he put on something else so that they can't like identify him based off of the clothes that he was wearing when he robbed the bank. So he doesn't want to say where he went exactly, so he just calls them kind of like spot A, spot B, spot C. So like I guess to keep it like inconspicuous, right? Like he doesn't want anybody to know his plan. So just by giving it those names, like nobody's gonna know. So he's sick of being broke, and this is why he came up with this plan. And he's not gonna get caught. Like this is his chance to have some real money, and he's going down with a fight, right? You know, like if he goes down at all. If you know what I mean. Okay, so demand money as soon as they hand it over. Get up and jet. Something about the set. The longer you stay, the quicker you get arrested. MJG tested his strategy with a slick armed robbery. So this is just like a strategy. I think he's just like trying and showing that like it's possible. Like this is how people can get away with it. He's kind of saying like, this is it. Follow this, do this, like lay this plan out, copy this, and you'll escape. You'll make it rich and you'll get out of here. You know, he's just kind of like, yeah, I did this. I did this as an armed robbery and got away. Okay, so verse 4, the final verse. This is 8ball. Okay, so 8ball is saying, flying through the air on my way to Jamaica, thinking about why I took the money for the faker. Me living poor and wishing to be richer, and just like Picasso, I had to paint a picture. So we're back with 8ball. He's on his jet on the way to Jamaica. Who doesn't want to be in Jamaica right now, right? Like it's, winter here still, so why not? And maybe he's got friends there or something, and he's just kind of like, it's a good spot to hang out. So he stole money for a faker. Like I didn't really get what that meant. So if anybody knows, let me know in the comments below who the faker is. And he's been living this poor life and he just wants to be rich. And so he's painted this picture and he's like put this image in his head and he's like thought about it so much and like this is his life and he's like seeing his life of being rich and like living in Jamaica and like having all these great things and doing whatever he wants and like getting away from the cops, and he has this like he's visualizing it, right? And so he's just kind of like, if I just keep visualizing it, it'll happen. It kind of, maybe I'm just like too much, but yeah, that's what I'm imagining. And Picasso obviously paints pictures. He's a painter, was a painter. Yeah. Okay, so people dying rapidly trying to imprison me just because I took a little money in a robbery. Landed in Jamaica, chilling with the dreads, smoking on the ganja, messing with my head. Yeah, he paints a picture for all of, for us, of like the people dying around him at young ages. I guess kind of like what's going on, hood life, kind of. There's a lot of people were going to jail, and a lot of people were dying around him. I don't know. That's just what I was thinking of. So he's obviously like a wanted man, and if he gets caught, like he's going to jail, and like because he robbed a bank. So there's that, right? So he lands in Jamaica and he's chilling with the Rastas. I mean, I just assume that because there's a guy with dreads, right? Like he's hanging with the dreads, and he's smoking on the ganja, and that's weed, marijuana, right? I don't know if there's anybody that doesn't know what that means, but I'll just tell you anyways. It's marijuana. So he's obviously high, hanging out with these cool, relaxed Rastafarian types, right? Cool. I mean, who doesn't do that in Jamaica? Okay, so we're almost at the end. So the feds came up behind me and hit me with a billy club. I fell to the ground, turned around, pumping slugs. Jumped up quick, ditched the gun as I ran away, ran to the hills where I hid for a few days. So the police find him. And he's come up, and they show up sort of sneakily, right? Like a sneak attack. And while he's just sort of lounging and smoking weed and like hanging out, and they whack him with a billy bat, which is like the little bat that cops carry. So he falls over from the hit, but then he gets up quick and he starts shooting the gun. He starts shooting at the cops, and he gets up and he runs away, and he throws the gun away as he's like running to his hideout, right? He goes up to the hills. This way he'll have like the highest like vantage point, right? To see if like any of the cops are coming, because he's going to be like high up at the top, and like he'll be watching. So no, I'm not the one that they will catch soon. Bought me a palace in the hills with 100 rooms. I got the money, got the women, got the BUD. I pled guilty to armed robbery. So I think that he's like admitting to people that he did this. Like, I don't know. Like, it's sort of like, anyways, let's just see here. So he's not getting caught by any of the police, no matter how hot they are on his trail. Like, he's like, they're not going to catch me. I don't even care if they're like right behind me, chasing after me. They're not going to get me. I'm like, this is his plan, and he's living it out, right? So he buys a big mansion in the hills, and the hills always seem to be like the up high, where maybe it's just like where it's more expensive to live. It's often where like there's a lot more like luxurious homes on these like hills, and like Beverly Hills and other hills. I don't know, but like, I mean, the hill that we have in Montreal, like it's where all the rich people live. Like they all live up on the hill, and they have to like, it's ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, it's yeah, anyways. So I think that he just wants to have like that like luxurious lifestyle now. So I guess it's sort of like being on top, right? On top of the world, like you're rich. Yeah, and I guess like poor people just live in like the valleys. Again, I'm thinking of LA and like Death Valley, I believe it is. Is that where, I don't know if maybe it's a less expensive place to live than Beverly Hills, right? Yeah, and he's just sort of like, I've got the money, I've got the ladies, I've got weed, and he's a guilty man. And it just sort of sounds like he was caught living like this lavish lifestyle. Like, I don't really know. Like, I don't know if it's sort of like a fantasy or if he was caught and he pled guilty. Like, maybe it wasn't worth it. Like, maybe like this whole like fantasy thing like didn't actually happen. Like, maybe he got caught at the airport, like when he was trying to get into the jet and the cops were like right behind him. So like maybe all of the other stuff is sort of fantasy, but like, I don't know. Like, it's just such a great story. It's like, you're not really sure like that if they get caught or if they like make it, they get away with like stealing the money and living the life, right? So yeah, I just think that this is a whole interesting song just because of that exactly. Like, just because it's a cross between like reality and fantasy. And I like how they played up on that. Like, I don't really know if this is actually happening, but it would be clear why somebody would want to rob a bank and like try to get away with it, right? Like anybody who's living, if they're living not that well off, I guess. It's about just living the life, and you know that you want to have like and live this like lavish lifestyle, and the only way to get it is for you to rob a bank, and make that worth it. Like rob the bank and then go do it, spend your money, live where you want to live how you want to live, and like if you don't, like you're going to jail, so don't get caught, right? And like if they weren't that well off, like at the start, like they would probably, like these guys and their friends and anybody else who was down on their luck and wishes, everybody just kind of wishes that they had everything, and they all just sit around and they imagine, having like all these nice things and living this life and whatever. And I think that that's sort of it. Like I don't even know if either of them did anything, if they're just sitting there telling you the story. Like if, like sort of like if their plan was this, they would get away with it, da-da-da-da-da. Like, I don't know. I don't think that they actually robbed a bank. Maybe they did. Let me know, folks. Yeah, I don't really know that like they would live this like lavish way and have like this tall tale of like the way that they escaped. And so, I mean, I don't really think that they would have written a song if they were hoping to like be on the DL about things, right? I think it is sort of, in a way, I think it's more of like a warning that maybe it's not worth it. And it's, it really is only like the smartest and most determined kinds of plans and kind of people who get away with it, right? And so they're just like saying that they are those kinds of guys, that we can get away with it. They can go to Jamaica and fly away and like there's no problems. But there's obviously, I mean, Jamaica is still an island, right? Like they're probably going to get caught if like the cops that are there are already after them. Yeah. So, I mean, that's it. I just wanted to, go through this one. I thought it was a really cool, interesting, fun song to do. I did see this song on a few lists of interesting songs that had cool backstories or that tell an interesting story. So that's kind of why I chose this one. I thought it would be a fun song to listen to. Plus, it was something new and exciting that I haven't heard of before, which is pretty much everything. But like I said, I'll be doing something a little bit more recent next week, so do stay tuned for that. If you liked this video, give me a thumbs up. Tell me you love me. I mean, thank you so much, guys, for hanging out with me and for going through this song. Let me know what you think of it, or if there's any other songs that you are requesting for me to break down. I absolutely keep a list of everybody's comments and recommendations and requests, and I go through it and kind of pick and choose sometimes. Sometimes I do whatever I want, and sometimes I do what you guys want. I really do enjoy doing what you guys want because it makes you guys happy, and I want to make you guys happy. That's what this world is about, right? So yeah, I guess that's it for this week. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.